Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Heart, Cat, and Soul. Here I am one more time for another episode, and thank you for those being there. I know, it's I do my best to bring really good and interesting information. Um, and well, if you like what you hear, please make sure to subscribe, share, and everything else. Um, Also, if you want to practice your Spanish, this podcast is also in Spanish and it's been going on for a little bit longer than the English one. But today I wanted forget about all that. Just let's dig into the topic of today here with my little Gwyn in the bag, just relaxing. Um, Today I wanted to tackle on a topic that is very interesting for me, and it's every time I say to someone that I am a feline specialist, what I always hear back is, "Oh, cats are so complicated," and I have to say I disagree. And why do I think that? Is that it's our perception. It's a perception of not really understanding how they are, what they do, and most of the times we are used to the relationship we built during our evolution with dogs, which is completely different, or other working animals such as horses, and then we find a cat, which is kind of a mysterious being that does whatever he wants, and it looks like, independent and aloof, and he doesn't care. He doesn't. If I call him, if I try to control him, I can't, or it's really difficult to do it. Um, and this is what I wanted to. Let's think about this, because yes, we may be used to this relationship with other working animals, uh, but deep, deep, deep inside, we really would like to be like cats, right? Independent. They actually build societies and groups, and they are able to get along. They set boundaries in a very nice way. So in the end, are they really complicated, or is it that it confronts us with, with the ease that we treat dogs or other animals? And also, hold on, I'm saying this about cats, but dogs can be this, we should be also led by dogs and not trying to control them. I'm not saying that. There's a lot we can learn from any animal companion that you have at home. I'm talking about cats because that's what I know. So this is one of the things we believe that they are complicated because we don't understand them. We believe they are complicated or mean or difficult because, well, you know, they know how to put boundaries, and we don't handle that very well. What about, let's say, mm, what about if we change the way we think about them? Simply without having that, perception and common, it's commonly spread around. um, Instead of thinking that way, why don't we put a little bit of adventure and say, okay, this looks complicated. I'm trying to do something with you, trying to have a relationship with you, communicate, but it's challenging. And in this challenge, somebody, we have to negotiate and we have to play around. When you think this way, which is a little bit more optimistic and it allows you to explore and play, you will find that cats are not that complicated. And you will find that actually they are very, I wouldn't say simple, but I would say that they are very straightforward. And also, when you lose the idea of having tags, of saying it's complicated, it's mean, it's this and that, when you lose that idea, you're open to see, to actually see and be present and learn from your cat. And this is where I wanted to get. This is the point. When you're present, when you understand or at least accept whatever is happening at that moment, you can actually see the cat and see that there is a relationship there, that it's going to be built step by step, really small, really, you're going to learn how to control your energy, for example. That's one of the things, because we don't, most of the times, if you haven't done anything to regulate yourself, your emotions, and any emotional intelligence, anything that allows you to have some, I wouldn't, it's not control, but let's say some that you can regulate your stress, that you take time for yourself, that you do something for yourself. Whatever you try and whatever you do that helps you as a human being will allow you to regulate your energy, your emotions. And when you do that, you will find that that relationship with your cat is much easier. And how, you may ask how I discovered this. I discovered this because I am that person. I was that person. I was this kind of person that could be so enthusiastic and so sad in the same day. I could have both and so many emotions at the same time, that I would say I am an intense and energetic and very intense person. And this is not helpful, because you want to get things done. You want to do it. You want to try. Let's say I want to, I want to trim the nails. I want to, I don't know. I want to play with the cat, but I just played too enthusiastic. And the way I learned how to do it is when I started working at the cat cafe in Madrid, where I had to deal with cats that were traumatized. Where I had to, well, actually, no, the first cat that I dealt with was a terrified cat that was living on the clinic that I worked on. It was a clinic in the middle of in a rural area in Argentina. And the cat was, she never wanted to leave there was a small room in the back. And when I say small, it was really, really small. And so they put the little tray there. They put the food all together. But the cat was terrified to leave that room. Of course, if she went outside, she felt like she didn't have any strength to deal with the outside. And inside there were humans, terrible humans, and humans that would perform things, and animals do dogs coming and out, going. So she was terrified, and I was like, but this is not a life. I mean, you cannot be in that room all your life. And that's what I told her the first day. The other vet that worked before, she said, oh, I tried several things and nothing worked. And well, so what I did was, and I'm sure I haven't done the right things, because I was too enthusiastic, and I said, you have to do it. That's what she, I just pushed her. I pushed her out, and I put some boxes and things, and I was, I never understood the timings that she had. But in the end, even though I may have traumatized her, I was recently graduate, so I think I'm a little bit excused about that. But in the end, the result was that she managed to live among the humans, and so she became the queen of the vet, of the clinic. And she was, hunting because there were mice around. So she was hunting. Then suddenly, she lost a little bit of weight because imagine living in a small room, eating all day. She was really overweight. And suddenly she was better. Yeah, my techniques were not the best, but I managed and she managed. And I'm really proud of her. Uh, Probably she's not here with us. I have no idea what happened to her. I remember coming back after a year later when I left that clinic, and I remember she was waiting on top of all there was a kind of like a counter, really tall, and she was sitting there, and she was like, "Hey, here I am. I'm the queen." And this was really nice. It was really nice to actually accomplish that, despite it was not the best methods. But then this happened to me several times. I mean, every single time I had to. Usually, I was a kind of a locum vet. I had my morning job, but then in the during the afternoons, I usually jumped from different clinics. Um, and mostly on rural areas in Argentina. So what I was doing was to I dealt with cats that where you could describe them as feral cats because they live in the countrysides and they have to hunt them to get to the clinic or things like that. And I had so many experiences with the behavior of cats that if I ever thought that they were complicated, that if I ever thought or believed that, automatically believed that, oh, it's a feral cat, it's going to be impossible to deal with, I would never, ever manage to do any of the things I've done. I have so many stories about this, but there is one, particularly one that I enjoyed. That was that this cat came to the clinic, and it was like it was a questionable practice in a way because the actual console had like a hole on top. Um, After you had the fridge, and then on top of that there was a hole. So the cat actually escaped from the carrier, got really afraid because he was a feral cat, and jumped and went straight to the ceiling. And yes, I'm not joking. This was a very small practice with just enough of things. And I remember having to find the cat and trying to bring him down from between a space in the ceiling. And it sounds like fantasy, I know, because when I went to Europe, these are not the things that you may see, okay? But in Argentina, it's pretty common. And I would say in Latin America and rural areas, we also have those big and fancy hospitals and stuff. But also, there are places that, there's a vet here just in the middle of somewhere. um, and I remember having to control myself and say, okay, I need to get this cat. I don't know how. Yeah, I could call the fireman maybe, but I have to get this cat. So we managed to get some blankets. We managed to get, I had my sedation dot, like if I managed to grab him. I got some help from the neighbors because it was in the middle of nowhere. I'm not lying. This was the middle of nowhere. No help at all. No nurse around. I only had the guy that was working on the store, and that's it. So we managed to grab the cat with the blanket, sedate him, and get some information of what was going on, which was something very simple in the end. But all that experience, all those things that when somebody says that a cat is complicated, I simply remember all these things of trying to deal with little resources to get to manage a cat. And how when you free your mind different tags, or of what you are expecting that the cat will behave like. This is one of the things I hate when I see on a clinical history and I see that oh, this cat is mean. So you are already predisposed to be defensive, and you are not allowing the cat to be the way it has to be. So how do we deal with this? How do we do it? And this is what I wanted to say. So, how do we deal with this? How do we work on this if we find ourselves with an idea of the cat is going to be complicated, the cat, it's difficult to manage, and else? What do we do? Because if maybe I don't know how to deal with cats. What I've learned through my 7 years in a cat cafe, where I had to deal with 30 something cats every time, and then we had to rescue cats, bring them to a small room, adaptation room that we had, and then adapt them to with the others, and create this big and beautiful colony where other actually humans will visit. So imagine all the work that was behind that. I've learned there a lot about me, about my energy, about the energy of certain people, about the energy of all the team I was working with. I've learned about what type of cats were more easygoing for me, what other cats maybe needed help from somebody else on the team, until I was able to manage them. I've learned how to be present and focus on my job, because sometimes, especially, I don't know if any other vet is listening to this, I have to say that sometimes I'm in my mind thinking about, what could be happening on certain cats, or new strategies and ideas. And I'm a very curious person, so I get a lot going on in my head, and this kind of thing will make you unpredictable for a cat, will make you not friendly, let's say. So if you have a traumatized cat near you, and I'm going to the extremes just because then if you see the extremes, then you can learn a little bit of your cat at home. But when I learned how to deal with my energy, and I said, okay, this cat is afraid of what is afraid. So I had to slow my breathing, very, just calm down. Sometimes I had to shake it off before I went inside the room. And I will have to have the time to actually be there. I could not be disturbed at that point. Because if somebody knocked the door, if somebody said, hey, Amaya, I need this or that could have potentially ruined everything I was working on. So this is the thing. I've learned that you need to be focused 100% with a cat. What are the challenges that we have, let's say, on a clinic, on our consultation? It's time that, you're in the rush going forward and back and forwards on different consultations. You are a lot in your mind, because I'm sure you are as a vet. And then you get, you just kind of automize and say, this and that. And, that it's not going to go well. Unless the cat is really, really easygoing, it's not going to go well. But it's not about the cat being complicated. It's more about how you presented yourself. It's a relationship. And as a relationship, we need to learn and understand this in order to change it. Because if you are going to have a difficult cat to manage, And I'm talking about vets because that's what I know. But I'm also a cat mom and I have an aggressive cat. And I know how to deal with him. And when I take him to the vet, because I don't treat them, when I take them to any of my colleagues, I am focused 100% because I know that if the cat cannot trust me, he's going to turn reactive and aggressive. But if I am there, if I know where if I can see the signs, I can tell the vet, look, you cannot take him out of the carrier. You have to do this, this, and that. This is how you deal with him. And if I understand how to deal with him, then everything is going to run smoothly. Now, if you want to rush it out, you're going to get bitten. And you're going to end up sedating my cat, which I'm not going to allow. So, next time, as a guardian, learn how is your cat. How does it take the carrier? How does it take the trips? Is your vet aware of all this? Have you had this conversation? Have you had this talk? Maybe you need to have a previous conversation. Sometimes this is not possible, depends on the vet. But if you can, make sure to have those. Those conversations are really necessary. Okay? And once you know that, and once you can learn, what you're dealing with, I can assure you that there is no complicated cat. You can, because what you have to be is present 100%. And it's beneficial for you. It's beneficial for everyone. They are not asking for anything else. They are asking for time and presence. And if we keep tagging them as complicated, instead of understanding them, we are going to find the same results over and over again. We're going to have a difficult transition of food. We're going to have difficulties at home. We're going to think of what they actually need when we have to just look at them and be present. And then you will see if any of those protocols, behavioral protocols, or what they need, enrichment, in the home enrichment things, not all cats are going to need the same things. So instead of saying, oh, I bought a scratching post and it's not using it, I did this and it's not happening, oh, they are so complicated. Instead of using that, saying, did I actually look what the type of scratching post they might need it? Have I tried with something else? Why is it scratching? Why he prefers the chairs and or the sofa instead of the scratching post? Might be that I have done something here. Am I not communicating well? Sometimes you will need help. Sometimes you need somebody to tell you what, somebody that's maybe more experienced into looking into these things. Sometimes it's boredom. There are so many reasons. It's an indoor cat that it's not allowed to go out as he pleases. It's not easy to understand all their needs. But instead of thinking that they are complicated, I challenge you to change that word to say, this is the challenge I'm facing at this moment. And I need to unravel the situation and get to know my cat better. This way, this mindset, this way of thinking, it's going to transform everything. And if I go a little bit further, if you change any thought, negative thought you have about yourself in the same way, and you're a little bit more compassive, and you are accepting, which I'm not saying is easy, but if you practice, you're going to get really, really far away. You're gonna make it. And this is the thing. This is what I love about cats. That cats are teaching you all the time things that you need to do for yourself. And one of the things is stop tagging yourself of things, of adjectives, and including things. I'm this, I'm that, I'm whatever. Yes, I am this at this moment in time, but I can do better. I can be better, and I can change things. It might take me all my life. It doesn't matter. The idea is to be conscious that change is possible. And when you do the same with your cat, you're going to find that things are not that difficult. Thank you for following up to here. I hope you enjoyed my stories. There's a lot of stories in Argentina. This is where I learned how to deal with cats. And then I think the Cat Cafe was one of the best experience to learn. I think that what you learn there, you don't learn. There's no course that will tackle all the things I've learned there. And anyway, this is what I have to share for you today. You can always ask consultations, and in case of, for example, lack of ideas, I don't know, I'm facing this problem, how do I do this, and my cat is healthy, and you can just book a consultation with me, a short one. If the cat is sick, then it's another deal. We need to go through the 360 consultation, because I need to look all the other things in order to understand its behavior much better. But if you have, a kitten, a young cat that is misbehaving, sometimes it's very easy just to have a short call and maybe we can figure it out. Ideas is my thing. It's what I have. So thank you for staying this long, and see you next time. Bye.